From light to dark, mild or hoppy, Together We're Bitter is their name. They're a brewing cooperative that keeps 8 taps flowing with a variety of beer. Tonight we take a look at what it takes to go from grain and water to superior suds on this week's edition of Made Right Here.
Hi, I'm Peter Collins. I'm head brewer and one of the worker-owners at Together We're Bitter Cooperative Brewing. We're a worker-owned cooperative brewery and tasting room in Kitchener, Ontario. So we start our brewing process at the beginning of the day with our crushed grain, most often barley, but sometimes we're using wheat, oats, sometimes rye. All that crushed grain mixed with hot water to make a mash. We let that sit for 45 minutes. At the end of that 45 minutes, those starches are broken down into simpler sugars, and that liquid becomes wort. We transfer that wort into the boil kettle while also adding more water to the mash tun. Once we get to the boil kettle, we dig out the spent grain, and that goes to a local farmer to supplement his cattle feed. That boil kettle then boils for an hour to 90 minutes, depending on the brand. At that point and during the boil, we're adding hops. At the end of that boil, then we're going to transfer that hot wort through a plate chiller to cool it down to room temperature to transfer it into the fermenter. At that point in the fermenter, we're adding the yeast. The yeast then actually makes that wort beer. That will ferment out for anywhere from about 2 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on ale versus lager. At the end of that time, then we'll cool the beer to help drop out some of the solids. We'll transfer that beer into the bright tank. We'll reintroduce some carbon dioxide for carbonation into the beer. And then at that point, then we will package either to kegs, cans, or to one of our serving tanks. And then it's ready for consumption. We have a wide variety of beers here. As head brewer, one of the things I try to do is keep our 8 taps filled with a variety of beers, from the lightest beers to the darkest beers, from low ABV beers to higher ABV beers, from malty beers to bitter beers and hoppier beers. So a good wide variety. I don't like to be boastful, but people really, really love the beer. We get a lot of positive feedback. Our Google reviews often mention the tasting room and the vibe, but almost always comment on the quality of the beer and how good it is. I try as head brewer to produce obviously not only good beer, but consistently good beer. Just try and keep the quality and the repeatability of it. I love that they like the beer, and that's great. That keeps me going day to day for sure. And keeping people happy, one beer at a time.